Hello, everybody, and welcome back to All Things Football. Today is going to be a little bit of a joint show where we're going to do United talk and Prem talk, as obviously we weren't here straight after the fixtures. I mean, it's been a decent weekend of football, not if you're a Manchester United fan, but if you're a West Ham fan, you are top of the league, and Mikel Antonio is apparently tearing the league apart. We've seen a few things on Twitter and on the internet. Big strikers are back in fashion, but I think it might just be Antonio and Lukaku out there. I mean, we're obviously going to start with Manchester United talk. Obviously, we drew 1-1 against Southampton. Personally, I'm not too happy with how everything went. The team selection, I think, was poor. Performance was poor, and I think we obviously suffered the consequences. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we went a goal down. Fred scored. Let's not forget Fred scored. But it was on the wrong side of the goal. Of course, it was Fred to score an own goal. It was unfortunate because it was a deflection. Maybe he shouldn't be sticking his leg out. It all happened because we're trying to play out from the back. Fernandes, I don't know, could be a foul, maybe not. Now there's like a term they're using, let the game flow. So they let the game flow and we didn't defend it very well. And obviously, Sheridan took the shot and Fred tried to block it and it went into our own goal. But yeah, it wasn't really a good start.
I agree. Obviously, I'm going to echo what you said. I believe it was a foul. Maybe if it was on a player that wasn't Bruno Fernandes, it might have been given as a foul. But there's only so much you can do. The foul wasn't given. The referee didn't blow his whistle. You know what it is. Play until the whistle goes, isn't it? But obviously, Fred, and another thing you learn when you're a kid is if you dangle your leg in, you're either going to get injured or whatever you're trying to do, and it's not going to work. And Fred just dangled his leg. If you're going to block a shot on the edge of the box, you have to go into block. You have to throw yourself in front of the ball, not just stick out a leg. Because if the way I see it, we've both followed football. I see this a lot, and I say it a lot as well. You know that if you stick a leg in, your ankle isn't strong. It's going to just not bend back, but it's going to deflect the ball. If your ankle's strong and it's firm, the ball bounces off it and goes in a different direction. Fred just dangled his leg, and I fully believe that if he stuck a leg out properly, went in for the genuine tackle, that ball goes off maybe for a goal kick or maybe even a throw-in or just stays in play. Like, it was just poor. Everything about that midfield performance epitomized their goal. We lost the ball, weren't quick enough to try and get it back. And when we did try and get it back, we weren't strong enough or combative enough, and we suffered the consequences. We conceded the goal, and we just unfortunately didn't get back into it. Even though we did.
You mentioned the team selection. Obviously, the back four speaks for itself, but
yeah,
this is where we have the problem. I think I mentioned it in the United talk in our first episode about it's like a donut. We have everything else, the attacker and defense, but it's the midfield. That's the hole in the middle, and this time he decides to start Matic and Fred. I think we said that if Matic has the legs, then he should play. But then it's Fred. Fred is obviously the liability in that midfield. And we saw it throughout the whole game. I saw one clip where he's just diving in the air. When he was chasing after the right back from Southampton. He was chasing after, who was it, number...
the right back was good.
Yeah,
it begins with V.
Livramento. Livramento. I think he's 18 years old. He just burnt out Fred. Fred tried to get back, and then next thing you know, Fred's on the floor. And Livramento put a good ball into the box. But it's the midfield. We need to sort out that midfield. We need a DM before next Wednesday. We need to get someone who can actually just come into the squad and start games instantly. Yes, Camavinga, people saying Camavinga. I say wait until next. Camavinga, I don't know if we get him now, he's not going to be thrown into a DM role in the Premier League. That's the problem. And that's the position we need to sort out right now. So for me personally, I don't think Camavinga solves our problems right now. Maybe for the future, but not right now.
I agree with you. He's 18 years old, unproven in the Premier League, and still a raw talent. I think if we were to sign him, I agree that he wouldn't come in and solve that DM problem right now, because Solskjaer would almost give Solskjaer a bit of an excuse to put him on the bench and stick with Matic, Fred, McTominay, whoever he wants to play there. But We are linked with Saul Niguez. Probably not going to get him. If anything, he's going to go to Chelsea. We're also linked with Ruben Neves, who I think we need him. I think he's the perfect type of player for us.
I don't think he's the player. I don't see him. I see him as a CM, but not as a DM. Defensively, I don't know about him.
I'd give him props in terms of he'd have the discipline to just stay in front of the back four. Because think about it, really. You're a professional footballer. You're a CM/DM. You have the defensive capabilities. You can put the tackles in, which he does. He's aggressive. He's strong, and he's got common sense, which is something that sometimes
he can play the ball. He can pass the ball.
Yeah,
but at the same time, he has a good shot. That's why I say he's always in and around the edge of the box when he's at Wolves.
So is Fred. So is McTominay. Fred is our DM. When our centre backs are just in the opposition half, like probably just inside the centre circle, that means that we have the ball. What we do, we pass it from side to side in it. That's how we play. Which every time we pass it side to side, we creep up the pitch a little bit more. The centre midfielders and DM, Fred, McTominay, they creep up the pitch. Fred didn't. If Ruben Neves was there, he would always be in and around the box when we have that sort of possession. So I wouldn't be annoyed at that. It's just when we have the ball on the edge of our box, when we try to play out, which is what we're trying to do. There's a couple of times in that match, Fred just gets the ball and I don't understand what is wrong with him. It's like he doesn't check his shoulders because he will take the ball, not at an angle. He will take the ball fully facing the goal. Face the Wan-Bissaka or face the Luke Shaw, just so you can see a little bit easier what's coming over your shoulder. Because there was one time in the match, he miscontrolled it a little bit, but because he was facing the goal, facing De Gea, back completely to the play, you have to do a whole turn to try and recover your touch. If you're side on, or if you're at an angle, maybe you have to stick out a leg and you get under touch. And he got tackled, basically. But Ruben Neves doesn't do that. When does Ruben Neves have a loose touch? He can play the ball quickly. Donny van der Beek can play the ball quickly. Pogba, Fernandes, Greenwood, who else was playing? He was on the right. Oh, Martial.
Yeah,
our attacking players, we can play the ball quickly, but it's just getting the ball to them quickly is the difficult bit. And I need someone, personally, forget what everybody else thinks, I need someone in my Manchester United team that is comfortable enough on the ball to collect it from the back four or the keeper or just anyone, turn and pick a pass in a second. Fred cannot do that efficiently enough and with enough quality. He might pick a pass, but he passed it off the pitch. He passed it off the pitch against Southampton.
That is one highlight that I saw.
Neves doesn't do that.
That is not the wall I was talking about, but if that's the wall, then that's the wall. But I think you've actually changed my mind about Neves because I actually didn't think about it in that way. I was solely thinking defensively. He needs to be defensively sound, but at the same time, as you mentioned, we need that link between the defense and attack. And obviously, Neves definitely provides that and can see our system. But yeah, we went into half-time, a goal down. But as we always do, away from home, we don't lose away from home. So obviously, we got back. Great play from Pogba. He got the ball into Fernandes. Fernandes passed it back to Pogba, and then Pogba, whilst he was falling down to the ground, flicked it over to Greenwood, who was obviously always going to score. But it's what I don't get about Solskjaer. Why, if it works in the first game, why are you changing it?
Exactly.
Okay, if Matic and Tommy and Fred, if it worked, it did work in the first game. So why is he changing it? And then Greenwood was fantastic as a number 9. Why is he now on the right? And why is Martial up front? Okay, I think it's very early on to see because maybe he wants to compare the two. He's seeing Martial up front, and maybe now next game Greenwood starts up front, and Martial's on the bench, and then maybe Sancho comes on the right. So that could be a possibility.
I think you're spot on there. I think he might have just been seeing because look, Martial's not an untested player. He has obviously been here for a few years, played number 9, so it's not like he's coming from the cold effectively. But what you're saying there, he's comparing it to see who's going to be better for the system that we are trying to implement now, or that he's trying to implement now into the team and into the league. I think Martial didn't pass the test, and I really hate to say it, but I cannot see a way back into the team for this guy. We have Greenwood up front. Because when Cavani comes back, by the way, Greenwood probably will get dropped, if we're totally honest. When they're both fully fit. Greenwood's playing out of his skin right now, but Cavani is a seasoned... he's been there, done that, scored hundreds of goals in the past few years. Like, he's there. He's the guy. Greenwood is his understudy, and Solskjaer said that before the season started. But you play Greenwood now. You play Greenwood there now. Whilst Cavani's recovering from his injury, he came back to training today, I believe, actually. But Greenwood's playing, he's scoring, he's creating space, he's picking up the ball, and he's comfortable taking his ball with his back to the goal and bringing other people into play. Martial I don't know what he did. I couldn't tell you what
actually, even when I was watching Match of the Day, I didn't see Martial do anything except he's not on the pitch.
Yeah.
And that's the problem we had when he was fit last season. It's like he's not on the pitch.
Yeah.
Like he's not there.
And it's very stressful because you know the quality is there. You really do know the quality is there because he's done it. He's last 2 seasons ago, 22 goals. I think he was a high scorer of 22 or 23 goals. Like, you can see the player, you can see what he wants to do. And I know everyone spoke about his body language, and I've always batted it off and said it's his personality. But I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, do you actually want to play? You don't look like you want to play. I forget about your facial expressions. I know people that look unhappy all the time, but they're happy. Martial looks unhappy, but he just physically looks unhappy. Even when he's on the ball, it doesn't look like the effort is there. And it does stress me out. I don't want him to leave because he's a good player. And we do need him in the squad. Football is a team game. It's not just a starting 11 type of sport. You need him there. You need his experience. You need his genuine quality when he does decide to show up, which obviously isn't the best, but when he does show up, he is very effective on the pitch. But for now, you're going to have to put Greenwood through the middle. And I think I feel like this is the final Premier League game before the international break. If Sancho doesn't start, if Varane doesn't start, when do they come in? When does they come in? Because you said before, defense speaks for itself. Not when we have Varane, not when Varane's on the bench. The defense doesn't speak for itself if he's not playing. He wasn't injured. He wasn't unfit.
He's on the bench. He was fit enough to play.
Yeah, you are fit enough to play, so you start him. And I'm going to be very, very annoyed if he doesn't start against Wolves, because all that means is Solskjaer's waiting for the international break, then to play him. Maybe to be.
That's a waste.
It is a waste. And Sancho as well.
Sancho needs to play. Why? When you're dropping Dan James and Sancho's not coming on the pitch, what is that?
I don't think Sancho is the type of player that you bring on. James is the type of player that you bring on because he has the explosive pace. He's just going to make those runs. Sancho is the person that you need to get into the game so he can build those relationships on the day with his teammates like Bruno, Pogba, and it's going to be Wan-Bissaka because he might be playing on the right. And you need to, so he needs to be able to acclimatize to the game and be able to start finding those passes, because whereas Dan James is, when the defender's tired and he's got one of the fastest sprints in the world, that's the type of play that you bring on. Sancho has to start. You put Greenwood through the middle. I mean, you're going to have to stick with Pogba on the left. Or if it's against Wolves, look, you know Solskjaer loves a romantic story. Dan James always does well against Leeds, so he plays against Leeds. Amad Diallo, back at final game of last season, I believe, played very, very well against Wolves. He might come back in, you don't know. He's been playing very, very well in training, apparently, which is why he hasn't been sent out on loan. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Diallo, Greenwood, and Sancho as a front three against Wolves, even though it's not I want to see Pogba on the left. I want to see McFred in the middle. I'm saying that I'd rather see Donny, but he's not going to play. So I want to see McFred.
Because we've completely just forgotten about Donny as if he's not in the club.
Yeah.
Because there's no point even mentioning his name.
Yeah.
Solskjaer obviously doesn't want him. How can you treat a player like that?
He's obviously also behind Lingard in the pecking order now as well. So make of that what you will. I think that's disgraceful. But, I'm not Ollie. I can't tell him what to do, and he's obviously not going to change his mind. Good evening, Ron.
Good evening.
I want to see... where have you two been hiding? So I had an internet problem. There's someone, apparently, this was what I was told by the Openreach guy. Someone apparently literally went outside and ripped all the wires out of the box. So I didn't have any internet.
This is what Foot Champs is doing to us.
Oh yeah, so That's why I wasn't there. And Ibs is active in the real football world. He's been going to matches.
Yeah, I actually went spontaneous trip to Watford last night. Watch was it the Carabao Cup versus Crystal Palace, and yeah, it was a good game.
Well, against Wolves, Ollie wouldn't start coming in.
Yeah, exactly. You just can't throw him in to the middle of the park. Basuma, I tweeted this out. Basuma is perfect. Pogba goes, Basuma is the first person to enter the door. Even if Pogba's still here, Basuma. We're going to go to the Brighton game, but I'll talk more about Basuma when we go to the Brighton game.
Yeah. All of these midfielders he's named, I have an opinion on all of them.
Højbjerg on McGinn from Villa.
I would love Højbjerg. Do you know why? I'll talk about McGinn first. I don't want McGinn. I feel like in a Villa team he's good, but I can't see him in the United team. I wouldn't want to see McGinn. Maybe I'm a bit of a snob. Maybe I'm a bit of a
I wouldn't want
fashion type player, but I just don't want McGinn. No. Couldn't see it. Højbjerg would be good. Basuma is my first choice, but we are not even linked. We're not even sniffing around Brighton's training ground for Basuma. Out of everyone that we are linked to, I want Ruben Neves. Mainly because he's aggressive. He can take a challenge. He can make a challenge. He's confident on the ball, and he's got one of the better ranged passing, qualities in the Premier League. So I feel like that would be perfect for us right now.
Pogba also passed off the pitch towards the end of the first half, but it was shocking watching Fred do it.
No, yeah, I saw that. But Fred's one was bad because I want to say it was Wan-Bissaka he was trying to pass it to. It was about a 10-yard pass and he passed it off the pitch.
We don't feed our strikers. The team does not help our forwards. Martial did not look great. We got lucky with Gruber's goal. How many times did our attack feed Mason?
I can count on one or two fingers how many times we fed Mason. But I believe that comes from a terrible midfield.
Yeah, no. Did he take him on in the game? He should have been tearing Memento.
You know what? I love Sancho and I want him to start. Is it the kit or does he look overweight? The kit is baggy. Like the kit is really baggy.
Yeah, I have seen that he does look bigger than he once was.
But I know for a fact that he isn't.
No,
big.
But even if you look at training photos, let me try to find a photo. If I look at training photos, he still looks big.
It was confusing me. He didn't. That's why I say Sancho needs to start, because as a player like Sancho, you don't just bring him off the bench. I don't think Sancho is an impact player. You don't bring. I mean, we have done it before, but you don't bring Pogba, you don't bring Bruno off the bench, you don't bring Sancho off the bench. These are players that need to start and play the full 90. They need to kill off the teams, and then you bring on someone like Dan James. I think Sancho starts against Wolves, and he has a very good game. Give him his full debut, and I think you'll see what we bought,
I think it could be a bit of the kit as well. The kit maybe makes him look a bit bigger than he is.
I think it's the shorts that are doing it for me, the massive shorts. The shorts look huge.
So yeah, that's just how he wears his kits. He wears like a size up or something.
Yeah.
But I think he just needs to play.
He does need to play.
That's how you get fit. You just get match fitness just comes from playing games.
If it's Varane as well, if you don't start Varane against Wolves, then when did we announce him? The first game of the season against Leeds. I'm thinking, could have done it a few weeks before so we could play against Leeds, but it didn't happen that way. You don't do
an announcement like that just to not play him. He has to play. You don't announce a player that big of a scale and they don't play.
Exactly. A defender is someone that you can't really bring off the bench unless there's an injury in defence. So if he doesn't start, you're not playing. Unless you're 5-0 up and you just want to give him a few minutes. But Sancho has to start against Wolves. Greenwood up front, Pogba on the left. Obviously, Fernandes is there. You don't even have to say Fernandes' name. And then you have to play McFred. But apparently, McTominay picked up a knock, which is why he didn't start against Southampton. But obviously, he came on. So he was fit enough to play, but just not fit enough to start. Never understood that. But yeah. Wolves is going to be a big game.
Big one commented in our last video. After the Southampton game, you're saying, for all you Dan James haters, Man United with Dan James on the team have been unbeaten since the opening day of last season. Undefeated, actually, he says. And yeah, that's basically what everyone said.
Is that with Dan James in the team?
Yeah.
Away and at home?
Yeah, I think it's...
If it's just away, then whatever. But if it's at home as well, then I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that at all, actually.
To be honest, I think Dan James was actually a missing piece in the way he played against Southampton, because you're playing Pogba on the left, not a winger, not going to make runs like Rashford would. You have Martial up front, who just seems not interested in doing much up front. And you have Mason Greenwood on the right, who, again, doesn't really make those type of runs. You have Dan James on the right or left as the outlet. At least you can stretch the team, stretch the opposition, but you literally didn't stretch Southampton at all in that game. So maybe Dan James could have come on. But then on Sancho in a game where it doesn't really make sense for Sancho to come on. Sancho shouldn't be really starting a game like that. So those are the things. Those drop points could cost us come towards the end of the season.
I think they will drop. They will cost us come to the end of the season, and I think that makes it even more important to go out and get that CDM. Doesn't look like it's going to happen because obviously Ollie likes the McFred combination that we have going on in the middle of the park. I think you look at City have already dropped points. We've now dropped points. Chelsea, I don't think have dropped points, and obviously Liverpool haven't either. It's a sticky situation to be in. I know we're only 2 games into the season, but you don't want to. Why are we already 2 points behind the people that we're trying to win the title against? You know, it just puts you. It gives you a setback. I know we're ahead of City and they're the favourites, but we're behind Chelsea and Liverpool. And I'm only saying them because the other teams, they're not going to be in the top 4 come the end of the season. It's going to be a 4-way battle for the league, but we're already behind them. We're already playing catch up.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a crazy stat about Dungeon.
Yeah, but
so when he plays, we win.
Team at the top of the league, West Ham, they beat Leicester 4-1. Antonio, as you mentioned in the intro to this video, a very physical striker, scored 2 goals.
Yeah, scored 2.
He's the all-time top goal scorer for West Ham in the Premier League. From right back to striker, he even changed his number to number 9.
Yeah,
what a story! Even from non-league as well. From non-league
to in the Mitcham. Yeah.
Teasing and Mitcham to West Ham.
It's crazy. It's a bit of a Jamie Vardy story there. All he needs to do now is win the Premier League with West Ham. And he's there. But I think what we have in Martial, West Ham have the complete opposite with Mikel Antonio. Mikel Antonio is a bit of an unorthodox player. He looks a bit like a muscly Bambi at times, but you know that he's going to give 110%. He could be having the worst game of his life, but one thing that is never in doubt is his effort levels, and you can always see it. For his second goal, most players take that first touch, and the defender will be able to get across. The striker might not be able to get on the end of that ball, but he took that first touch and he put every ounce of energy that he had left in those 4 strides to then get a touch on the ball. He's going to score a goal, pretty or ugly, and I just love him. Like, I love Mikel Antonio. Obviously, not saying we should sign him or anything like that, but if he was at our club, I think he'd be a great player to have. I think he's a perfect man for West Ham as well. And after he scored the second goal, I was thinking, how many goals do I think he's going to get? I'm looking at 15 to 17 or 18 goals this season.
Yeah. I think that's a good target for him. And it's a very achievable target. I don't know if they'll get Lingard, but say they were to sign Lingard. I feel like Antonio would easily get to that target. And West Ham could push even higher than they did last season. Yeah.
Ron just said there, West Ham are on fire. I was confused. I still didn't understand because he said it on he said it on the Sky Sports interview afterwards. I can't remember what it was, but I liked it. He's always had funky celebrations. I think that's just his personality. But I have to say, when he was playing right wing back for West Ham, never in my life could I see him being this good up front. Because when he first came to West Ham, I can't remember where they signed him from. Do you know where they signed him from?
I think it was from Reading, because I know from Teasing and Mitcham, he went on loan to Reading, or he was signed to Reading, one of the two.
Because he'd always be when he had like the odd match on the right wing, the odd match up front for West Ham. When he was in front of goal, he was just always erratic and rash with his shots. Like he wasn't scoring many goals, and he didn't have the composure that he has now in front of goal. You can clearly see the work that's gone into develop his game as a central striker, because he's always had the physique and the strength and the stamina and effort levels. Nottingham Forest, I think you might be right.
Yeah, Forest.
He's always had the build to play there. He's just never been good enough. And now I think whatever's happened between 2 seasons ago and now, he's come on leaps and bounds and definitely has to be West Ham's main man. I also really hope he chooses to represent Jamaica, because if we have Mikel Antonio up front for Jamaica, we're going to see them at the World Cup in Qatar, 100%.
As for Leicester, obviously they did get an early red card, using Perez. But they already go down by the time Perez got sent off. And I don't know, it's going to happen again to Leicester. They're not going to finish in the top 4. They will still finish like 5th or 5th place. I think they'll still finish 5th place. But it's again, Brendan Rodgers, they're always, I mean, he did win the FA Cup. So he did finally get over the line with Leicester. But still, they want to be in the Champions League. They do have I don't know. I think they do have the quality to get there, but they don't have the consistency in their performances to get there. That's the problem I say with Leicester.
Yeah, they've always been there or thereabouts, but it's inevitable that the one thing that is inevitable about Leicester is they will fumble it at the back end of the season. Never have I seen a team be so comfortable sitting in third, so many points clear of the Europa League places, and actually still end up in the Europa League. And Leicester have done it twice. So they've made a few good signings, but I don't think those are the type of signings that are going to get them Champions League football and help them improve that much to help them break into the top 4. It's unfortunate for them that Manchester United have strengthened not enough. Liverpool, who did they sign? Sorry, Konate,
and
I know they signed someone else.
Yeah, but they have strength, and they will be expected to get top 4.
Oh, Van Dijk. I was thinking about Van Dijk. Sorry. Chelsea obviously is strengthened. Only signed Lukaku, but it's still better. They might be getting Saul as well. And obviously Man City, they won the Premier League last year. Leicester will not be breaking into that top 4. They'll be lucky to get Europa League football this season. Every season there's a surprise package. I think this season, would you class West Ham as a surprise package after what they did last year? Maybe.
I don't think it'll be a surprise. I think obviously they'll be expected to push on from where they were from last season.
Yeah, and with fans back in the stadium as well, you could really hear it. Like the Olympic Stadium was loud. It's called the London Stadium, I think. It was loud.
The London Stadium, yeah.
And it was nice to hear. I think West Ham are one of the teams that are going to benefit massively from fans coming back. And I can see them finishing 5th this season. Leicester maybe get Conference League.
Well, talking about Conference League, leads us right on to Tottenham. They, Nuno, Spurs Santos back at Wolves. 1-0 win, Dele Alli penalty. Kane did come on as a sub in that game.
Yeah.
And Kane will stay at Spurs, as you can see in the title of this video. He took to Twitter to say how he couldn't believe the reception from the Spurs fans, stuff like that. And he's ready to give his 100%.
Man, he was twerking for a move to City, man.
And it's funny how he's staying. Why do all that just to stay? What's the point?
If City didn't sign Grealish, if City signed Grealish for 50, maybe 55, 60, Harry Kane would still be wanting that move for Man City. He still would be, thinking I can still go to Man City, but it's not how things work out. It's going to be, when you have someone like Kane, second best striker in the world, in my opinion, he's the best player at your club. You have to accept him back with open arms. That's not a player you can turn your back on. And I think he knows that. So I think he's in a good position. He's not in a losing situation. He stays at Tottenham, continues his legacy there, might leave next summer, but I feel like if he signs a new contract, if he signs a new contract, then he's definitely gonna, he's gonna have to retire there. He might be a.
Kane is so Spurs. He possibly just only moved to big club. Yeah, he's just gonna be a trade for his legend.
Yeah, he might win a Carabao Cup maybe, but
No, they're not. They're not winning anything. Spurs are actually not going to win anything.
I feel bad for them, man. I do feel bad for them because do you remember when they came up to prominence with Harry Redknapp when they qualified for the Champions League? This was like they had Bale, they had Aaron Lennon, who was at the peak of his powers, Luka Modric, Kabul, Gallas, they had Gomez in goal, Pavlyuchenko and Peter Crouch. That was a team. I enjoyed that team.
Yeah.
And their projection was high. Their trajectory was increasing and getting steeper and steeper. Then Pochettino came in. Well, I think there was another manager between them, but Pochettino came in, and it carried on going. When they got to the Champions League final with that team that they just didn't want to sign anyone. I mean, they didn't improve their team; they just got better. After that Champions League final, what happened? I feel like that is the highest they'll ever be able to go.
Yeah,
that was a chance.
After seeing that they get to the final of the Champions League, the owners seriously needs to invest and build on that, so then the next season you win it.
Yeah,
just like Liverpool did. They got to the final, they didn't win. Next season, they went and won it, and then they went and won the Premier League. Investment in the right places, and I think that's what Levi didn't do that. Maybe if Levi, he's going to do next season, so okay, next season, or try and offer him a new contract, so then he becomes more expensive. But he's going to still get less money next season, because now there'll be so many strikers on the market. Clubs will have Lewandowski apparently wants a new challenge. Obviously, Haaland will be available. Mbappe might leave this summer or next summer, and then Kane.
I can't see Kane leaving next year. He's going to be too expensive again. Who would he go to? He wants to stay in the Premier League. The only team he can go to is Manchester City. Haaland's going to be available. Lewandowski as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I do think he will end up staying at Tottenham because it's his club. He's too expensive.
Interesting discussion. Does a player have to win a trophy to have a great career or be a great player?
I think you have to win a trophy to have a great career.
Yeah.
But to be a great player, you don't have to win a trophy. Because look at Matt Letizia. He was a great player. That's the first person I could think of. Don't know why I thought of him. But if Harry Kane carries on doing what he's doing, he's 100% going to be the Premier League all-time top scorer. England's all-time top scorer. He's going to win a few more golden boots, maybe another international tournament. But if he doesn't win a trophy, his career, in terms of... It's a team sport, isn't it? He doesn't have any trophies. He just has individual honours. And David May... Triple in 99, Danny Simpson won the league. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Danny Simpson for Leicester, innit? Yeah, but I think Harry Kane's a great player. Like, he just is a great player. He's one of the best. He's one of the best in class. He's been one of the best for 4 or 5 years now. And it's just unfortunate he plays for Tottenham. Not in a jokey way. It just is unfortunate that he's been unlucky enough. He's one of the most lucky players ever because he's brilliant and he's lucky because he has the ability and he's lucky that he's been scouted and given the opportunities. But he's unlucky because he's in a club that just don't win anything. It's a mentality. And I don't know when it's going to change.
Well, moving on to Wolves, it was good to obviously Raul Jimenez is back after that horrific head injury. I don't know how he's playing football.
Yeah.
To be honest, I feel like that has kind of hindered the way he's playing because obviously if you've had a head injury, you're not going to want to header the ball or attack cross into the box. I remember seeing a match of the day, one cross he had into the box. He really could have attacked the header and scored. But what he was waiting to do was to bring the ball down, control it down, and then shoot.
It's something.
It's obviously playing in the back of his mind, as it should.
It's like, yeah, it's good to see him back. I really hope that nothing ever happens. It's awful when something like that happens, and I fully expected him to retire like Ryan Mason did. But football's a business at the end of the day. You want to win games. You got to bring someone else in.
Yeah, you can't just rely on a player like you can't put so much pressure onto him on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to be the same player he once was. You
Yeah.
can't expect him to be that player. They really should have invested. I mean, they've got in Trincao. They should have invested in another striker who needs to alleviate the pressure from Jimenez. Because you have players like Adama Traore, who I was mentioning in Prem Talk last episode. Put him one-on-one coaching, finishing, and he becomes world class. Because literally one free ball, he's in, and or ball to feet, rolling the defender and shoot. But he can't finish. He can't finish his dinner, as Big Ron says. That's all they need. If he can finish, he'll be up there. But that's just the problem. How is he? He's come from Barcelona Academy. Forgetting that he's come from the Barca Academy, La Masia, and just something so simple, such as finishing. Just coach it. He can easily be coached.
I'm not sure why they haven't. As you said, I do agree. If he was a good finisher, even if he had the finishing ability of someone like Marcus Rashford, because he's not the best finisher, let's not forget. Even if he had Marcus Rashford's shooting ability, he'd be world class because he literally does everything else. Beat a man, outstrength a man, dribble past a man, his sprint speed, nobody can catch him. But when he gets in front of goal, I don't know what goes on in his mind. It's like everything is playing. You know what it is? Top strikers, I don't know where I've heard this before, but I know I'm not making it up. Maybe pundits talking about top strikers.
Slow down the game.
Yeah, in their head before they finish, it's like everything goes in slow motion because they can compose themselves. But with Traore, it's like when he does a shot. Yeah, it's that's actually really unfortunate because I do like Adama Traore. I like watching him play, but whenever he's in front of goal, like when there's a simple chance, he just doesn't score, but he'll score a screamer from 20, 25 yards. You know, it's unfortunate. But Big One said there, like, it took Luke Shaw a few years to go over that double leg break. Jimenez will take time. 35 on Fabio Silva. Don't know why they spent. Well, I know, they have a Portuguese connection because George Mendes is involved with the club, but 35 million on Fabio Silva. Go and get Danny Ings. You could have got Danny Ings for less than that. Bring Danny Ings and someone like that, or another foreign player for 15 million. Someone like Luis Muriel from Atalanta. Like, well, I'm thinking of these players now, but they went and spent 35 on Fabio Silva. Unknown, unproven, and he obviously didn't live up to the price tag. I mean, he's still young, so he might, but I mean, it's unfortunate. But Luke Shaw's, at the time, they called it a double leg fracture. I mean, his leg was dangling, man. That wasn't a fracture. His leg snapped in half.
Yeah.
I've never understood the medical terms, but
Yeah, the next game of the weekend, is it Chelsea? Arsenal-Chelsea? Yeah. Arsenal-Chelsea. This is why I brought Lukaku into my fantasy team, because I knew it was inevitable that he's going to score against Arsenal. All the memes before the game, Ben White is going to get bodied, everything like that. Ben White had to get COVID.
So convenient.
He couldn't have the memes. He couldn't get the memes. It said Mari had to get all the memes. Mari, the way Lukaku just brushed off Mari when he scored that goal. And that's literally what Chelsea needed. A goal scorer, someone who you can play the ball to. He dropped in deep, played the ball to him. He sets it back. The ball was played out wide to Reece James. Lukaku sprinted into the box, brushed off Mari and tapped into the empty net. It's literally so simple.
Oh gosh, I'm thinking about Lukaku now. Different player from that player that left Manchester United in amazing shape. And you know what? I didn't know it was Mari before, but when I was watching the clips back, like on Match of the Day and whatever, I'm seeing Lukaku absolutely bully this guy to get into the box. I'm like, oh my gosh!
You even fell down. How can someone put their hand out? How can someone just put their hand out like this and run past you and then you fall to the ground?
It's bad. It was a bad look for Pablo Mari there, but I think that's a warning sign to the rest of the Premier League that Lukaku's not here to play. When you're that much stronger than your defensive opponents, I mean, I can count probably on a hand how many players I think could beef up to Lukaku right there and then. You got Van Dijk, you got Harry Maguire. I don't even think Varane could, if I'm totally honest. You've got Willy Bolly from Wolves. Off the top of my head, cannot think of anybody else. I've got 4 players there, maybe, that can stop Lukaku in his tracks right there, because the determination, that isn't just strength, by the way. That is, he knows where the ball's going and he knows where he needs to be and he knows when he needs to be there. Nothing's going to stop him there. Stark contrast to Martial, and a few of other players, but Lukaku's performance, I think, was brilliant. And obviously, he was involved in the second goal for Reece James. I don't think he got a touch on the ball, but I think just his presence alone let that ball go through. Because someone was it Xhaka or Sambi? I think one of them two. Can't remember too well. But if that's not Lukaku there, whoever tries to tackle the ball actually probably cleans the player out. But in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I've seen what you've just done to my teammate. I know how big you are and I know how strong you are. I'm not going to try and go 1-to-1 with you right now. Gonna try and get the ball but not touch you. And I think that's why the ball goes through. It's a mental thing as well. And Lukaku's dangerous.
Yeah, but on the other hand, in both goals, the positioning of Kieran Tierney was very questionable because he was getting drawn into the ball. And both times Reece James was free in behind. And he couldn't adjust his body quickly enough to get out to Reece James. So then Reece James was able to play across the box for Lukaku's goal. And then for Reece James's goal, again, caught in a bad position and Reece James scored. So I think those 2 goals, Tierney was out of position, poor positioning, but as a whole, Arsenal just didn't do enough. They were never going to even get a goal, or just they didn't really challenge Chelsea.
I mean, if they don't score against Man City, their goal of the month is they just won't have one.
They haven't won a game.
But we're talking about scoring goals. The big one said there about Sterling, with the linking it to the Traore thing, did an interview where when he said he moved to Man City, coach asked him what goes in your head when you're throwing goal. I'm thinking of, when I was speaking about Arsenal there, it made me think of Martinelli, made me think of what's the striker's name? Josh Balogun? Or Balogun?
Oh yeah, Balogun.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Whatever they've done with Sterling at City, they need to do with those 2 strikers at Arsenal, because don't think they had a shot, either of them 2, against Chelsea, but against Brentford in the first game, Balogun, I know he's young, so he has time on his side, but they're striking options that don't include Lacazette and Aubameyang. Everything is just erratic. There's no composure in front of goal there. And honestly, honest to God, if Lacazette and Aubameyang don't play, I don't know where they're going to get goals from. What player's going to be scoring them goals when Lacazette and Aubameyang are out?
Yeah, I mean, their best chance is when Saka is shooting from outside the box.
Yeah.
That was literally their best chance of the game.
It's looking long for it. It's going to be a long season for Arsenal, you know.
What I'm saying is that Amazon Prime is going to be amazing when you see deadline day. I mean, not deadline day, but last day of the season, battling relegation. I can't wait. I'm actually I might need to watch that in the cinema.
And apparently, like, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Arteta has 5 games to save his Arsenal career, which is right. I mean, as a Manchester United fan, keep him to the end of the season. I want to see how good he can get. But as from an Arsenal perspective, I don't know how he's lasted this long. What has he improved? What has he done? And where do you think he's taking this club? Because I can't see anything going in the right direction. I think, if anything, they've, gone backwards.
They've definitely gone backwards, but they just need to hire a proper a manager who knows their tactics and knows what they're doing, instead of hiring someone who is new to the job. You can't do that.
There's a lot of managers out there. Don't know why they got Arteta.
Yeah. Like literally Brighton, Graham Potter, they're doing well. Brighton won 2-0 against Watford. Graham Potter is a good manager, and I think Brighton have had a good start to the season. I think.
Yeah, haven't they won 2 games?
That's what I was thinking. I'm not sure. Did they win their first game?
Let me just double check because I feel like they did, but I could very well be wrong. Yeah, they did. They 2 wins out of 2.
Yeah,
they play a good brand of football, and that is down to Graham Potter. I think he's a very, very good manager. Oh God, sorry, I was on the fantasy app. I saw Nevers and United in the same title, but I thought something happened. But they're talking about the game. But yeah, Graham Potter's a very good manager, and he has decent players at his disposal. McAllister's coming on quite well. When he first went to Brighton, or when he first started making appearances last season, I didn't think he was very good. But I think this season, or whatever he's done over the summer, has helped him quite a lot because he's playing very, very well. And Neil Mope as well is just still improving. And of course, they have a midfield of Basuma, who's holding it. They have a good core.
Pascal Perez, Adam Lallana, who is a veteran in the Premier League. Yeah, they do have, as you said, a good core.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Basuma. Let's go talk about Basuma because I didn't watch the full game. I only watched it on Match of the Day. But from what I saw, Basuma, he's just comfortable.
Yeah,
I think he himself is playing. He's playing his best football. He's playing under a manager that knows how to use him, and obviously he enjoys playing under. He's playing with freedom because he knows that clubs are talking about him. He knows that it's inevitable that he's going to leave Brighton one day and move to a Champions League club because that is where he should be playing. So for now, he's just enjoying his football, and whatever happens, he happens. He's just doing what he does best. And he was the reason why Milpe got his first goal because he
high press.
Watford were trying to play up from the back, and then Basuma got there and Milpe just finished it.
This is why we need not even just Man United, but a top club, not just in the Premier League but in Europe, could really, really benefit from Yves Basuma because he's so comfortable on the ball and he's skillful as well. He's not Pogba skillful, but he's elegant. He's got silky feet. And he's got good balance, and he's very, very, very well-rounded player. And it pains me to see him play for Brighton because I know that they're not going to finish anywhere above 9th or 10th. But he's a player that can easily play for a tight side that's challenging for the Premier League. And the fact that we're not in for him, Liverpool, I can only see Liverpool the only team I can see him going to because they're actually linked to him. If Liverpool get Basuma, imagine a midfield of Fabinho, Basuma, and Harvey Elliott.
I can see it as well. I can actually see him going to Liverpool. That's the thing.
I think he will suit their play. Look, he high press, DM pressing someone in the centre forward position. Why is he there? Because he likes to play the high press. He's tenacious in the tackle and he has a lot of stamina. Perfect for us. Perfect for Liverpool. And it gets me stressed because of how good he is and the fact that we're not linked to him. Fabrizio Romano hasn't spoken about him. He's the only person I trust when it comes to United, to be fair. He hasn't spoken about him once, and it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
I mean, Shane Duffy, he's back in the Brighton squad. I think he was on loan last season.
He was at Celtic?
Yeah, Celtic. He was on loan at Celtic. It's really weird, but
I was thinking that maybe as a brother or something, but
Yeah, he's back. He scored a header. Don't know how, but I saw that I had him in my fantasy, so I'm not complaining.
You got lucky. I'm telling you now, you didn't mean to do that.
I definitely got lucky, but Watford, I mean, they had a great first game of the season, 3-2 against Aston Villa. Today, I mean, not today, but on the weekend, they weren't the same. They weren't really playing the same. And they came up against a well-coached team. And I feel like with Watford, they do have they play 4-5-1. 4-5-1. Yeah, Sarr. I don't know why they didn't start Cucho, the guy who scored that goal in the first game.
Neither do I actually.
Cucho Hernandez, because it does seem like a threat. But I suppose it's very early days. It's hard to to really say much about Watford, even though they probably will get relegated.
You know what? I'm looking at their team. They have good players, you know, and I just think the quality of the rest of the Premier League. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, this Watford team is comfortable, but everyone is improving. Everyone has improved. There's so much money in this league. You're looking at Maxwell Cornet going to Burnley. These little teams that don't really have that much money traditionally are buying these champions. Cornet is a Champions League player, a Champions League semi-finalist for Lyon. Scored the winner against Manchester City. Now he's going to be playing for Burnley. Watford, I said 3 or 4 years ago, they're comfortable in the Premier League, but definitely going down this season.
Definitely going down alongside Norwich City.
Yeah,
the team, they love that 5-0 scoreline against City. You could have literally just betted on this game to be 5-0 and you would have got a return, because it just always happens. City, everyone scores. Grealish, Laporte, Sterling, Mahrez, an own goal just to top it up. And
it's unfortunate.
I mean, Norwich City, I don't know what to say, because I don't think their team is good enough.
Their team isn't good enough.
We mentioned it last episode that you have players like Cantwell, Pukki, too good for the Championship, not really sure if they're good enough for the Prem. You have Billy Gilmore on loan from Chelsea, who I don't know. He's a good player, don't get me wrong. And then the defence, Max Sarins, Ben Gibson, Hanley, and I don't know who that is, the left back. And yeah, Norwich, they're going to get relegated.
It's a yo-yo story all over again. I do feel bad for them because they are just too good for the Championship. But they're just so bad. Like, they are actually a bad team in terms of the Premier League. And as a Norwich fan, what else do you expect? You go into a match against Man City, you go into a match even against Burnley.
But it's like they didn't learn.
Yeah, you can't expect to win.
Why is the coach not learning from their mistakes? Because they saw a match of the day when they're analysing the game. They're just making the same mistakes and not learning from it. They've played City many times. They know what City are going to do to the team. The way City, the type of pass City were doing was so simple. Like Mahrez's goal was actually just a ball over the top, touch, finish. It's just things like that, giving players too much time on the ball. You can't do that against City. They'll just
can't do that against anyone.
Yeah,
it's amateurish football, and I think it just really goes down to the quality of the coaching staff, manager, and then the players. If you're making the same mistakes over and over again, it's not just, it's on everyone, man. It's nowadays you can analyze a game, you can sit in a room and watch. If you really wanted to, yeah, you could analyze a game by having a camera on every single player, look up what type of positioning they have with their body, where they are on the pitch. They can do all of that until the cow's gone home, but they don't, obviously. Or if they do, they're not good enough to. They're not good enough to take it in and actually act on their decisions and change them for the better, because it's, as you said, it's the same stuff over and over again. And this is exactly the reason why we're going to be saying this in the 25th week, in the 14th week, in the 18th week, and then in the last match of the season. I can see them getting 5 wins this season. They're going to be the first team to get relegated, and I think they're not going to be as bad as Sheffield United were, I think, but it's going to be an embarrassing season for them.
City, the £100 million player on the score sheet. I don't think he even expected to score that goal. I think it just came off his leg or something, off his knee, or into the goal. But it's interesting to see how Pep Guardiola is using, Gabriel Jesus, because he did mention that Jesus can play anywhere along the front three, so left, right, and centre. He opted to start Ferran Torres as well as part of the front three, and Sterling and Mahrez were dropped to the bench. So, I mean, with City, they can literally just change around however they want. They have got the depth to do that.
Yeah.
And Pep Guardiola is not afraid to do it. And I think that's what Solskjaer needs to learn, to just change the team around. if it doesn't work one game, don't just change one player like he did to put in Martial. Bring on Martial and Sancho if you're going to change the stuff around. Don't just make one change at a time. If you want to see if something works, change the whole thing. But obviously, he's not as confident as Pep is. If Pep was managing Man U, I don't want to imagine that because it's just giving false hope.
Don't even speak about it.
Yeah,
it's not worth it, man.
It's not. But a team that is coached by a manager that some say is good, some say is bad. Leeds United. I say I don't really like the way Bielsa manages, but I mean they did still draw the game against Everton.
Great finish from Rafinha.
And I think they did play well. It was a good game against Everton. Didn't see too many goals. I think it was a very even game.
This is a weird match for me because I have absolutely zero interest in both of those teams. I don't like Everton. Everton are a team for me. I don't like any of their players, like at all. As in, like, they annoy me. I watch Iwobi play and I'm thinking, how are you here? How are you playing high-level Premier League football? I don't think he's that good. Same with Andros Townsend. Calvert-Lewin's good. Richarlison, to be fair, I like Richarlison. But I don't understand Everton because they obviously have a lot of money and they obviously use that money. They're spending 40 on Iwobi, I think, or 30, something like that. They're buying Allen, a Champions League midfielder, Andre Gomez from Barcelona, Yerry Mina from Barcelona. You're buying Luka Dean, one of the better left backs in the Premier League. You have Calvert-Lewin, who's an up-and-coming striker who's playing very well, but you're still not good. You have Rafa Benitez, a proven manager across Europe, but you're still not good. Carlo Ancelotti, but you're still not good. What is Everton? And that's why they annoy me so much. I can't wrap my head around it because they don't have bad players.
It's true. They didn't. I think in this game, he changed the way he used Demarai Gray. In the first game, he used Demarai Gray in like a number 10 role. And I think he's realised that Demarai Gray is probably best on the wing because he has a great delivery. I think they got him for a very good price. They got like him for like $1 million from, I can't remember what team it is. Leverkusen for like $1 million. And I think it will work for Everton this season. The way if you utilise Demarai Gray in the wing properly, get crosses into the box, and Calvert-Lewin will score, or Demarai Gray did score himself. So I think that side of the wing is okay. But it's about, you mentioned Townsend. Why is Townsend signed? On the other side, you have a Iwobi who started the game as well. He's not really a winger. I don't really see him as a winger. I don't see him as a cam really. So it's about their players are just not good enough, some of their players. And then they play Richarlison just behind Calvert-Lewin. I think they play like a 4-4-1-1.
Yeah. It's a tricky one. I could never wrap my head around Everton. I think Richarlison is good enough to move on to bigger and better things. But one thing I will say about them, they sign high-level mediocre players, the Alex Iwobis, the Townsends, and all of that. To really get them progress, for them really to progress, they have to go in for the big boys. They have to be signing players. Someone like Fabian Ruiz from Napoli, he could help take them to the next level. Someone like Ousmane Dembele, obviously not him, but someone like that plays for a big team that can actually take them. Because why are you signing
James?
Dan James could take them to the next level. He's better than Townsend. He's better than Iwobi. Like, I don't know. It's tricky, but even Rafinha from Leeds, I mean, he got their second goal. He's a very, very good player, I believe.
Everyone says that Bielsa is a god amongst men, and he loves his football ethos.
I'm not a fan of him. Not a fan of him. I think
I like his ethos in football, that you work hard, all of that, fitness, whatever, but the way they play, it's exciting. I mean, it adds excitement to the Premier League, I can say that.
It must be terrible to be a Leeds fan because it's like, I just want to win 4 games in a row. I don't want to get battered 5-0 and then beat a team 5-0.
What is that? How can you experience that as a fan? I don't get it. Why do I have to suffer 1 week just because next week is going to be good?
Exactly. Us as United fans, we live a different version of that. City fans don't live that. Liverpool fans don't live that. Chelsea fans won't be living that soon. But as a Leeds fan, you have a manager that's proclaimed to be one of the best, but maybe I don't think he is.
I mean, you mentioned a manager that's not the best. Patrick Vieira for Crystal Palace. You did say this in the preview show that you think he's going to get Palace relegated. Palace yet to even score a goal under Vieira, and this is including yesterday's game in the Carabao Cup, which they lost 1-0 to Watford.
Jeez.
So, what are Palace's hopes?
Palace's hopes they're going to be battling relegation. They're not going to do as well as they did when they had Roy Hodgson. Man, I don't know why they got Vieira. It annoys me because there's so many good managers around Europe, seasoned, very experienced managers in their 50s and 60s. But you get Patrick Vieira, who's unproven everywhere he's gone. What has he actually done in management? And you're a club that are going to be battling relegation. You're a club that needs the best manager possible to help you not have to fight relegation for the upcoming season. But you get someone in who's been doing that and who hasn't proven himself anywhere. Where does it make sense? For me, the only thing they've done here is brought in the legend of the Premier League in his playing days, someone who they think can maybe attract the good players because, I want to play under Vieira because he was one of the best. But what has it actually done? You haven't scored any. You don't look like you're going to be surviving the Premier League relegation battle this year. And if anything, you just left yourself in the worst position. I know Roy Hodgson didn't get fired or sacked. He retired. But you've got someone like, bring Sam Allardyce back. You've got Chris Hughton. Chris Hughton would have been a good fit, I think, for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
I don't know. Can't think of anything else right now. Well, I want to go back to what Ron said about Everton. And then I'm going to link it to this. Everton, they don't buy Deadwood from United, Schneiderlin, blah, blah, blah. They buy Deadwood from Real Madrid and Barcelona. Crystal Palace could easily buy someone like Townsend. I mean, they could have just easily kept someone like Townsend because Eze is out. He's not going to be coming back in for a few months. Who have they got, Palace, to replace Townsend? Because I know Zaha's on one side, Townsend is on the other side. You have Ayew.
No, it's so weird. They play Ayew on the right mid. I was actually watching the game yesterday, and Palace played their full strength team, and they still lost to Watford, who were not playing their full strength team. They have right back is
it Ward?
Ward left back, right back. They play. What's his name?
Mitchell.
Mitchell. And what's his name? Guehi and Anderson or something. Anderson.
Yeah.
Midfield is Kouyaté, Zaha left, Ayew right, and the other centre mid is the other centre mid. Schlupp. They play Schlupp. Yeah.
In centre mid.
Yeah, centre mid.
Boy.
And then they have Benteke and who else up front? I think Conor Gallagher and Kouyaté centre mids, and then they play Schlupp in the 10, and they have either Matata or Benteke up front.
Jeez,
it's just the team. I think, for me personally, I think it's the players who are not good enough, not the coach. From what I saw yesterday,
like they signed Guehi. Looks like he's going to be a good centre back. They signed Conor Gallagher as well. They signed young players. What you need to do is sign with the young players an experienced player who's played in the Premier League a lot, has experience, not just battling relegation, but has experience playing football that leaves you in the top 10 at the end of the season. Someone like John Joe Shelvey. not saying sign him, but someone like that. I'm really struggling to think of players today off the top of my head. Andres Pereira, man, he could have gone to Crystal Palace. Someone like that. I just feel like they're just digging themselves a grave. And I know they're signing these young players that are going to
Diallo on loan.
Diallo. But
that would have been perfect on the right.
Yeah, but we're not letting him go because he's done so well in training. But we're not going to play him. But we're not going to play him. You know, it's unfortunate for them. Not so unfortunate for us, but I just feel like they're definitely getting relegated. Brentford aren't getting relegated though. I know they drew 0-0 with Palace, but I like Brentford. I didn't actually watch this match, by the way, because
it was a 0-0. It was a 0-0 game. It was probably like the last game I matched of the day.
First 0-0 of the season, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, team which you want to get relegated, which probably won't get relegated, are Burnley.
I hope they definitely will. Definitely.
I don't think they will. They are like a Premier League team. They always scrape by, stay in the Prem. They did lose. They lost 2-0 against Liverpool. Obviously, Mane and Jota on the score sheet. Alexander-Arnold back amongst their assists, and their left back, who's obviously Tsimikas, is in place of Robertson, who's injured.
He's proven to be a good backup choice. People are saying, our backup is better than Luke Shaw. But, talk about reactionary. Talk about getting carried away.
But Harvey Elliott, like 18 years old.
He honestly, I mean, I never like to give Liverpool credit. Never like to praise them, but he's good. Harvey Elliott, they found someone. They found a real gem.
The loan spell, he had a Blackburn, I think it was. Obviously, it's helped him.
Yeah.
Now he's ready. I feel like he's ready for the Premier League to start starting games. He has Naby Keita and Jordan Henderson alongside him in midfield. Maybe he's just playing a bit more advanced compared to them.
Honestly,
yeah, he was good.
Honestly, yeah, if they had a midfield of Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, and Harvey Elliott in front, it's scary because Harvey Elliott is a very, very good player. He's so technically gifted, I think. Fast. He just has the confidence as well. You know, he has the confidence. He played in the Championship, which people say is the hardest league to play in. That's what a lot of professional footballers say. So I feel like it's toughened him up a little bit. But watched him a little bit in the preseason, and I watched him a little bit against Burnley, and I think he's an exceptional player, and I think he's going to be one of England's better players in a few years. I think he'll be in the Premier League. You're looking at 25 plus appearances this season, maybe 25 plus starts if he carries on the way he's playing.
Yeah, there's lots of competition in that squad. Liverpool's squad, again, they have squad depth as well. Curtis Jones was the guy last season, and now Harvey Elliott just comes back from loan. Maybe that loan spell has maybe put him above in the pecking order, or has even made him an even better player than Curtis Jones. Yes, Curtis Jones was playing in the Premier League last season, but as he said, Championship is different. It's much tougher. Harvey Elliott is probably a tougher player, more streetwise, maybe things like that.
He looks like more of a what do they say they said it about Sancho and people like Zaha. You can always tell what footballers grew up playing football in cages because of the way they control the ball, the way they roll their ball over the ball. It's like a futsal. He's playing futsal basically. He's a very, very skillful player, and I'm actually excited to watch him play this season. If I'm being honest with you, obviously he's Liverpool's player. He's going to be Liverpool's player for the good few years. But hopefully he's not the player that drives them to the title. But I'm excited to watch him.
Liverpool, their bench, they still have Thiago on the bench.
What has he done, man?
Fabinho is not even, obviously he's injured, but Liverpool have a very strong team.
I'll be honest, I don't even care about Thiago. He's not a threat to me. I don't think he's settled in at Liverpool, if I'm honest. But he's had a few good games.
Whenever I look at this Burnley team, I just see all these England flags.
They're going to have Maxwell. They're going to have an Ivorian flag, hopefully. Maxwell Cornet from Lyon. Surprise. You know what I think? Sean Dyche must be looking at all of his Twitter mentions, Brexit football, and like, you know what? I'm going to have to go and get a... I can't do his voice. He's done so. He's definitely reacted to something because I don't understand the signing.
I think he's reacted to his team needing some better players. I think that's the reaction that's needed. They've seen how the Premier League is not. Premier League needs to keep getting better players to stay in the league. It's the only way. And because Burnley have always been getting lower and lower in the league, those need players who are. There's more competition in the squad, just to make sure that they stay up.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see them staying up, honestly. Whatever you say, whatever anyone tells me, I'm trying to manifest it. I cannot see Burnley staying in the Premier League. And I hope to God that they don't. This 2-0 loss that they suffered against Liverpool is just one more smile on my face, even though it was Liverpool. Cannot wait to see Burnley in the Championship. Whew. Excited.
I mean, everything we're saying is just leading onto it. I feel like Newcastle are also going to find them in the Championship because, again, their investment is not good at that club. Mike Ashley he's not investing the money. You have players like St. Maximin who just there for the show reels. Post their clips. Post their clips on Twitter, even though they've lost the game. They lost the game 2-0 to Villa.
Did he post another compilation?
I'm not sure, but
after this, I'm going to check.
Yeah, they lost 2-0 away from home to Aston Villa.
Believe Danny Ings got a goal, didn't he?
No, yeah, of course Danny Ings got a goal. Bicycle kick.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That was a crazy, crazy goal.
That was a finish. And obviously, El Ghazi scored a penalty.
Don't like that. Ings is in my fantasy team. I would have much
preferred
Ings.
Exactly. I don't know why Ings is not taking the pens, but well. And yeah, Newcastle signed Joe Willock. Okay, that's probably one of their only signings this summer. And obviously, they have Callum Wilson and Maximin up front. They're unfortunate not to get the penalty. I don't understand that rule. It was offside, but the keeper still got booked. I don't get that, even though it was given as offside. Why are you still going to book the keeper? It's like me slide tackling someone from behind, but it's because they're offside. I don't know. They're offside. They like still get a red. I don't understand that rule.
The rules are changing, and I cannot keep up.
Yeah,
basically.
But either way, Newcastle weren't good enough. They lost the game. I don't know what to say about Newcastle. They play 5 at the back as well.
You know what? They have good players, man. They have good players. I think Newcastle is a team that can either be in the relegation zone or finish 11th. I can't see them having a good season. Can't see it. I think Steve Bruce's time is running out a little tiny bit. And I think they're really going to struggle along with Palace, Burnley, Norwich. And I know there was someone else, but I can't remember who. I think Newcastle.
And Watford.
Yeah, Watford. There's going to be a 5-way battle for relegation in my eyes this season, and I think Newcastle might just lose. I don't think they play good football.
When I look at their team, the names in that team just sound like championship players. Like Woodman, goalkeeper Woodman, Fabian Shaw, Jamel Lascelles, Matt Ritchie, Federico Fernandez, Jacob Murphy, Isaac Hayden, Miguel Almiron, Joe Willock, Callum Wilson, Maximin.
You have those 4 players at the end: Almiron, Wilson, Maximin, and Willock, who can play in the Premier League at a decent level in the Premier League. The rest of them, you're right, they sound like championship players, especially players like Isaac Hayden and Murphy. I don't know.
I don't get. Arsenal really let Joe Willock go just to play Nokonga, who they signed. He's 21 years old, who they signed. Instead of keeping someone who scored so many goals towards the end of last season, Arsenal struggling to score goals. Why would you get rid of a goal scorer?
I don't know. Arsenal's business has been like really bad this summer, and I think that's just another example of how they've messed up. And I really think they're going to live through the mistakes. Joe Willock's going to have a decent season individually for Newcastle, but I really believe he could have improved the Arsenal midfield. You have a crop of youngsters at Arsenal: Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Balogun. You could have had Joe Willock there. I mean, Guendouzi's still out on loan. I think he's a good player, Guendouzi. You have a crop of youngsters there who could, one, use a good manager to help them find themselves in the Arsenal team and progress Arsenal to the levels where they think they should be. And Willock could have been a part of that because I think he's a really good footballer. Good at Newcastle, high scoring midfielder for them last season. Arsenal made a mistake and they will regret it.
Yeah. But so on to that time of the show where we have the fantasy. ATF fantasy. Get it up.
All right. Let me get my team up. Anton Brooks, the best fantasy player in the world. I'm sitting in 10th. We've got 24 people in the league. Person at the bottom, oh boy. Tabang Motiba, 85 points. 80, oh my gosh. This guy is decent players, you know. Just getting unlucky. He's got midfield of Saka, Fernandes, Mount, Grealish, and Maddison. Yeah, there's user. I'm user 24, by the way. I couldn't think of a name, but we've got Alex Repetto at the top. One of our friends. He seems to be really good at this. I'm gonna see if I can show Alex Repetto's team just in case you guys want. I don't know how to focus that, and never mind. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna do it. No, Master. Who's Mastermind? Oh, is that Alex?
Yeah, this is Alex's team.
That is a good team, man. That is a good team. Antonio doing bits for him up front, and obviously the two Liverpool fullbacks, I think, are they're essential, I guess. Any fullback that plays for Liverpool has to be in the fantasy team. I have Trent. Well, let me look at Ib's team actually because I'm obviously above him. Obviously,
2 points.
You got carried by Duffy, by the way.
Yes, that's why you have players like that because the unexpected can happen. That's why I purposely chose him.
I know it was an accident.
Not because I didn't have much money left, but I purposely chose him.
I mean,
Fernandes disappointed us.
I put a triple captain on Fernandes, man. I'm burning.
Yeah,
I'm
really
burning inside. I could have put it on Antonio. I should have put it on. Imagine I put it on Antonio, man. I would have had, 32 more points. And I would be...
Yeah, this was your team didn't do too bad.
I'm doing all right. I didn't even use triple captain last year, but I decided to in the last game week, which is a big mistake. Honestly, I could have been in third place if I put a triple captain on Antonio. But, you know, you live and you learn. Can't use it anyways ever again. So my bad, my mistake, you know. But I'll come back to win. It's only game week 2, 36 weeks left, and we obviously have the cup competitions throughout the season in the Fantasy Premier League app. I mean, wrong chest. I'm gonna come out on top. I know it. I'm confident. Ibs might come 8th or 9th or something like that, but we'll let him keep Duffy at the back.
We'll see. But yeah, so this weekend, let's check the fixtures for this weekend. This is the last weekend before we're ready into international break next week. So
yeah,
it's fast. But yeah, fixtures for this week, Saturday. Another loss for Arsenal as they play away to City.
I feel like they could
midday kickoff. There's actually no hope for them in that game. It could be like a 6-1. Aston Villa, Brentford, Brighton, Everton, Newcastle, Southampton, Norwich, Leicester, West Ham, Crystal Palace, and evening on Saturday, Liverpool, Chelsea.
Going to be an interesting game, that one.
Then on to Sunday, Burnley, Leeds, Spurs, Watford, and Wolves, Man United. And yeah, then after that, it's the international break.
Oh, if we avoid defeat, we are the sole holders of the unbeaten away record. We equaled Arsenal's 27-match run when we drew against Southampton at St. Mary's. So obviously, I want the win, and I want to get this record with a win. Only a win is acceptable because out of 9 points possible, I don't want to only be on 5 points. We've already dropped 2 points, but we need to get back to winning ways against Wolves at the moment.
Yeah. #start Sancho, start a run. And yeah, that's the best way to end the episode. So thank you everyone for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're 2 subscribers away from 100. Thank you for continued support. And those who tune in every week, we do appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.